Paul Jones Drug is Elk City's most experienced compounding pharmacy, meaning they can custom make your prescription medications to your doctor's specifications, safely and effectively providing you with exactly what you need. And for your convenience, Paul Jones Drug has a drive-through pickup window as well as curbside service for testing and vaccinations, and offers free local delivery. Just a couple reasons you should choose Paul Jones Drug, 809 North Main Street in Elk City.
I'm Rodney Skinner with Paul Jones Drug, and I promise we provide care you can trust.
If you build it, he will.
It's the Skinny on Sports Podcast with Aaron Cowell.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cowell with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Good Paul Jones Drug Tuesday morning out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. There is all kinds of stuff going on in the world of sports. Jared's Rangers are one of the best teams of all time. Who saw that coming? U.S. Open qualifying yesterday. 11 collegiate golfers will be at L.A. Country Club a week from Thursday. 4 of those from Stanford. 4 Stanford golfers made it through U.S. Open qualifying into the U.S. Open. How in the world did they not make even the match play of the national championship? Craziness. Madden cover. Did you see some of that talk online yesterday?
No.
Bunch of talk about the Madden cover. Who should it be? It's going to be released early August. I know who it shouldn't be. RG3 fired a name out there, and I almost spit up my coffee when I read it. Oklahoma City. There's 2 things. There's something that is just broken on Twitter that I would not have been more surprised if I woke up with my head sewn to the carpet. I'm reading a story from CNBC that the PGA Tour and Live Golf have agreed on a merger. What? And then also Oklahoma City hosting an Olympic event? Huh? See if you can guess what that is when we move up. And then the Women's College World Series finals are set. We'll talk about what happened yesterday. Look ahead to the series that is coming up starting tomorrow evening. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. That's 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We'll talk about anything that's on your mind in the world of sports. Feel free to chime in at 225-9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area, you can stay in touch with us a couple of ways. You can log on to kadsam.com, live stream us that way, or download the Paragon app. The app is free. It's got it all. Radio. It's got the Penny News. A brand new edition of that Penny News will hit the website tonight at midnight. thepennynews.com is how you check that out. Also, of course, Big Elk and Paragon TV are there. I mean, for a free app, it's got everything that you want to digest all across the spectrum out in Western Oklahoma. Then, of course, the Skinny on Sports podcast is available everywhere podcasts drop. How are you today, Jared?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, did we hire somebody new that I don't know about?
No, I don't think so.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm not in charge of hiring or anything, but
there was a suspicious car out front, out back.
That's the loaner.
A Porsche.
Yeah.
What do you mean the loaner? You're driving a Porsche?
Yeah. My
Man,
my wife's
the
car,
news director gig is better than I thought.
The wife's car is getting the hail damage repaired for who knows how long.
So you just got a Porsche as your loaner?
Well, it's my mother-in-law's. That's my mother-in-law's car.
Oh.
That's her little toy.
Oh, yeah.
So when I need so my wife's driving my pickup because it's easier to haul kids around in the pickup than it is in little Porsche there. So I get to drive the Porsche.
Driving the Porsche.
Yeah, my arm's sore from shifting, and it's okay, I guess.
Tell us about the Porsche. It's red. I think I've seen this car before now that you mention it. You had this at one of those.
Yeah, I brought it to one of the car shows we had.
Yes, you have.
It's an 86 Porsche. I don't know the whole details on it without looking. It's whatever. Do I want it? Sure. But it's my mother-in-law's. And we've been working on it. It's been
Pretty bougie.
Yeah, it's been needing an oil change, which is incredibly hard to find around here. Somebody
do a Porsche?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet so.
And
Not a lot of Porsches hanging out.
I mean, I can do an oil change on my pickup or my wife's car, but I'm little on these little Sportster European jobs. I don't want to mess it up.
So what's the difference? Can you tell us?
Well, the type of oil, the filter, all this little stuff. And then I'm told, and we'll have this looked at too, that gaskets and seals need replaced too eventually. I mean, this thing needs a little bit of work, but it still runs, But
how fast did you have it going on
the
here?
speed limit, the exact speed limit. Although I will say it's really easy to look down and you're going way past the speed limit. I think it's up. Nah, it's
What does it go to?
I don't know.
The odometer. What does it go to?
I believe 160, maybe faster. I can't remember.
What's the fastest you've ever driven it?
I'm not gonna say. I'm not doing that.
Was it double?
When my mother-in-law said, "Jared, do you mind? The Porsche hasn't been ran in a while. Do you mind taking it up and down the country road?"
Does that mean do you go 150?
I'm not saying. I say I.
Have you had?
I wake her up.
Have you had it triple digits?
I'm not saying.
People cannot hear you when you move your head that way.
I might get in trouble. I need to drive. This isn't a want to drive the car situation. I need a vehicle to drive, so I don't need it taken away from me.
It's just pretty nice. It's pretty nice to, if you need a car to drive. A lot of people get a beater. You have a Porsche.
Wow. Now, because it's not mine, I'm a little nervous driving it around. You don't want something happening to it.
Scotty's ready to line them up with his sports cars.
I'm not a racer.
Yeah. On the text line, Scott says, if you had Jim's Truth Serum, what would that number be? It's too bad we don't have it
now.
Too bad,
Jim. He has been on with us a couple weeks. So.
All of a sudden, this podcast, this episode of the Skinny on Sports isn't going to have a podcast.
Yeah, there's going to be a big gap in this one.
It's weird how that's going to work, isn't it? What'd you do last night, other than drive the car over 100?
Oh, Katie had basketball practice. We picked up the house because we finally had a nice night off. Cooked some chicken on the grill. And watched Tennessee and Florida State.
Yeah, so I was hoping that's what you did because I was out at the baseball field, so I didn't get to see a whole bunch of that game. Let's start there, and then we'll go to OU. So I think everybody watched that one. Is it fair to say that Florida State has been just as good as Oklahoma in these College World Series?
Listen, if Oklahoma's the gold standard, Florida State's the silver standard because they have been a common fixture in Oklahoma City this time of year in and year out. And if not, they're in the finals too. I saw what was the stat without looking it up. And they've been,
third straight maybe?
Something like that.
This is the third straight World Series that they've made the finals?
So it's, their level of success is right there with OU, except what they've pulled one national title in this run that they're in. And
2018.
OU's pulled in a multitude of them. So it's very fair to. They're right there. If we're talking tiers of college softball, they're on the same tier with Oklahoma. Is that fair to say because of their participation in the World Series, or is Oklahoma on a tier all by themselves?
Yeah, but I do think that these two have separated from everybody else.
If Oklahoma hasn't been as dominant as they have been over the past decade, if not longer, then this would be Florida State's world and us living in it.
I think that's fair.
But it's the other way around. If it wasn't for Oklahoma and their level of success, we'd be talking about Florida State like we are OU.
Yeah, the coach is Lonnie Alameda, who played at OU. Graduated in 1992. Question that Sam was asking on the text line: did she play for Gasso? Don't think so.
Graduated in 92?
Yeah, she wasn't there yet.
Nope.
Patty, that is, wasn't there yet. But she did play at Oklahoma. after transferring from St. Mary's of Texas down at San Antonio area. But yeah, I think it's fair to say that these two have separated from the rest of the pack. The difference is, at least over the last couple of years, you've got a pretty big eyesore if you look at the results for Florida State last year. They didn't even get out of regionals. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just the one that's way out of whack because, but they haven't had as much success. Obviously, nobody has. But Women's College World Series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 since 5 and 10, basically. Yeah, it's not on OU's level, but it's as close as anybody is the point. And when they have gotten there, especially lately, they've succeeded there because it's now be the third time in a row that they've made the College World Series and the third time in a row that they're going to play in that championship series. They won it in 2018, lost to OU in 2021, and now here they are again in 2023. So if there's someone that's trying to get to that tier, I think it is Florida State. And a lot of those names from 2 years ago you're going to recognize, I think, out there on the field again. As for Oklahoma, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. Stanford, I think especially with Nigeri Kennedy, if they could just find some offense, that's a team to look for over the next couple of years if she's still there. And I say if just because of the way the transfer portal is. The jokes write themselves that as soon as she walked off the field, she looked at her phone and it said Patty Gasso, and those jokes are there. But she was awesome. Has she been the star of this thing, even in defeat?
Well, I mean, if you watch ESPN, that she definitely is. Because the names are always going to be, when the team at like a dominant OU, you're going to get Coleman and Lyons and all of them, and we've heard their names all season long, especially being right here in Oklahoma. But she's made a star of herself, candidate that is. I didn't know anything about her until this tournament, and she's definitely made a name for herself, and that name's just going to get bigger because she's just a freshman, and now, I mean, everyone's going to look at her. She might be appointment television as next season rolls on, and there's some national televised games. You might see a lot more Stanford Cardinal on there, especially when she's in the circle. Yeah, I think she's definitely been the star.
Yeah, and isn't it interesting in losses? I mentioned that the other day.
Yeah.
After the first game had happened on Thursday, there's a big story about her on ESPN, and it was basically meet the gal that almost beat Oklahoma. You know what I mean? That just shows you how amazing the dominance is. I have to ask this question, and this isn't just because of the OU fandom or what have you, but I have to ask this question to this topic. Can you tell me what Nigeri Kennedy has done that Jordy Ball hasn't?
Giving up key hits.
Is it just because she was able to tamp down that OU offense to the level that she was? I mean, there was stats in those two games that haven't happened in 3 years. Coleman and Jennings striking out back-to-back. They did it again yesterday.
Yeah.
That had never happened in their 3-year career at OU. I think that's part of it, that because of the team she's pitching against, she gets more credit than somebody that's just been out there and shut everybody completely out throughout the entire series.
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. But you look at those two losses to OU. I mean, OU was the only team that was able really to put bat on ball in key moments.
Washington had a hit.
They had a hit. And OU had that big hit yesterday, put them up 4-2. Of course, did they label that an error? I can't remember, in game one.
Oh, yeah.
But they put bat on ball. My point is that, and it was key, and it was big.
So let's talk about that sequence yesterday with Boone on first, I guess, did she end up second with the walk, right?
I can't remember how she got the third, though, but it really doesn't matter.
Anyhow.
Because runners were on the corners.
Yeah, they were on the corners.
No, she might. I don't remember. But somehow she got the third when they were walking Coleman. Because I thought, are they going to walk
Jennings
next to load him up?
Would you have done that? Would you have walked Jada Coleman to get to Tiare Jennings?
I mean, that's pick your poison, right? But Coleman had her last at bat. Was it her last at bat? Had hit that homer.
No, it was off the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. And we all know Coleman. I mean, she's has a history of stepping up in big spots like that. So, well, what do you do? I mean, I think you play the chances of. Plus, Coleman was a lefty. Is a lefty, and Canada has struggled against lefties more.
No,
than
it's
righties.
it's the other way around.
It's the other way around.
Big time, the other way around.
Really?
Oh yeah, lefties had hit like 230, righties had hit like 084. In that, they put that graphic up the first game. The hitters that were on her arm side, they mentioned that had zero success all year long, which would lead to why they did it. Righty versus righty. I mean, you always hear that in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
It's not as much of a thing in softball normally, but
I don't know. You can go at every angle of it was a good idea or a bad idea, but I think they were darned either way. I think that, but they're thinking the best chances are maybe we could turn two here, maybe we get into ground ball or something.
But there was 2 outs, right?
There was 2 outs.
0-2 with 2 outs
Yeah,
when
I'm
she
sorry,
hit that
there
ball.
was 2 outs. So maybe there was no point of loading up the bases. Yeah. I wouldn't have walked her.
I can understand why they did. For one, it appeared that Kennedy had Jennings' number. She had struck her out 4 out of 5 times. I mean, those are things you just flat out don't hear, right? I mean, that is incredible. But at the same time, see, I get Coleman's done some amazing things, right? She has. But if there's somebody on this Sooner squad that has come through over and over and over and over again in Oklahoma City over the past 3 years, it's Jennings. I mean, you're right. It's a pick your poison moment. There's no doubt about that. And there's really no good answer. But I think the numbers would speak to it being the right choice. With how dominant she had been against not only righties all year, but Jennings in particular. It's just kind of the greatness of OU, right? That you can intentionally walk a finalist for the Player of the Year to get to another finalist for the Player of the Year.
I mean, did that 2 RBIs, didn't that break the record for most RBIs?
Tied it. Tied it with Allo. Yeah, because I was sitting there, because I was thinking, on her birthday, by the way, Tiare Jennings' birthday, how cool would it be if she just hit a 3-run home run to break that record? And it said it was a 2-run double. Craziness, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy, crazy, crazy. So let's talk about what's going to happen starting tomorrow. Is this a sweep? Is this just are you expecting the games to be a lot more like the Stanford one and a lot less like the Tennessee one?
I think somewhere in between, honestly. I don't see OU blowing out Florida State, but I don't think Florida State has a dominant pitcher. I don't think anybody does, like Stanford did in Canada. But listen, I'm not trying to be, I'm taking off the crimson and cream glasses. I'm trying to be as on the fence about this as possible. But until they lose, I'm not picking against them. So I think OU in 2. We talked about going with percentages here. That's what I'm not trying to be. Well, they never lose, so I'm just gonna. They always find a way, and we've seen it. And I kind of like that they've been battle tested in this tournament against Stanford, those 2 times. But it just shows you. It showed me a lot going to 9 innings, going down 2-0 like that, and I thought, oh no, now they're just going to put Kennedy in, and that's it. And sure enough, they did, but it was 2-2 at that point, and I like that they got a test twice in this tournament. It wasn't just run ramshot through the entire tournament. So, but again, until they lose, whenever that may be, I can't pick against them. I can't.
Well, here's what you're asking.
Sandra Cock is pretty good, but I don't think she's Canada.
It's different. She's different than Canada. That's the one. She's a different style, which can be good and bad. I mean, but I don't think there's nearly the worry for the OU hitters about just getting blown away like it was against Canada. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's a little bit more tricky with Sandra Cock as far as changing the speeds. Canada just said, here it comes. And it's going to rise, and if you can hit it, great. If not, and I think that was maybe the biggest criticism of what happened yesterday, wasn't the fact that they walked Coleman to get to Jennings. It was the pitch they threw on 0-2. Jennings had not been able to lay off the rise ball and not been able to hit it, and instead they do her a favor by throwing an off-speed pitch over the outside corner. Way too good, way too fat a pitch, and she just ripped it. But that's the problem against Oklahoma. You make mistakes, you get beat. And that was just a minor little detail mistake, and that was the difference in the game. Twice against Stanford. It's minor little things that they didn't do right, and OU pounced on them and were able to take advantage. So it ought to be fun. I'm kind of like you. Here's what we're asking. Here's what you're asking Florida State to do. Something that in 59 games hasn't happened. And that's make OU lose twice in 3. It's happened once in 59, and now you're expecting Florida State to do it twice in 3. That's a huge ask. And to be quite honest with you, that 4-3 loss in Waco, I think makes it less likely. I mean, if this was an undefeated team, then the pressure and it's just ramped up.
Yep.
I think in a lot of ways, losing to Baylor really helps. Oklahoma's beat Florida State. They've seen Sandra Cock. All of that is true. So you can pick Florida State if you want. Anybody out there, feel free. I ain't doing it. I ain't gonna do it.
Do you buy into who's had, starting in the World Series, who's had the tougher road? Who's more? I mean, Florida State. They run through Oklahoma State in that rain delayed game. They beat, was it Washington next?
I think if you just looked at the team names, you would say Florida State has had the tougher road.
And seedings.
Yes.
Stanford was the 9 seed.
But if you look at what those teams had, I think you you can make the argument that OU has had the tougher road.
I'm trying to find that angle of, well, OU's seen the better pitching through this, at least in 2 games, in one person. Has Florida State seen that kind of caliber of pitching? I don't know.
Yeah, good point, too. In the game that OU lost, Baylor's 4 runs came on 1 swing.
Yeah.
A grand slam. It's and we've seen yesterday both runs. 1 swing.
1 swing.
It's hard to put together a rally.
To add them up. I mean, bow down to Clemson for getting 7 runs.
Yeah. And being able to put up 2 or 3 without just that 1 swing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I mean, Gutshaw and Ashley Rogers. We'll see if Pickens gets any time. I mean, they threw her out there against OU. No, I'm sorry. That's Tennessee's pitchers. Sandra Cock. They have another one. What's her name? That's thrown just a little bit. Anyway, we'll see. But I like I said, you're asking Florida State to do something that hasn't happened all year.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
So, I mean, I'm picking OU in 2, and it's nothing against Florida State. It's just because OU, until they lose, I'm not picking against them.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me to do it. That's the same reasoning I had going into this tournament when we were breaking down who would be in the finals, and I said, oh, listen, I think OU's going to go because they just don't lose. They don't know how to lose. Even with 2 outs and 2 strikes on them, game on the line, they win.
Yep. Consistently win.
It's inevitable. It's what he said yesterday.
Yeah, I know. That was pretty
inevitable.
I meant to get that call, and then I got distracted.
Listen, but I hope they're good games.
Yeah, not like it was last year against Tech. I mean,
I want it to be good, fun games.
Yeah.
Those are always fun.
yeah, it was pretty awesome yesterday with Stanford having a chance to win. We'll be back.
Paul Jones Drug offers a free service that makes taking your daily medications safe and easy. It's called convenience packaging, meaning they can combine all of your daily medications and put them in sealed, separate daily packages. This process replaces you from having to fill your daily medication dispenser. And as always, Paul Jones Drug prepares individual blister packaging for long-term care patients. With their drive-through window, curbside service, and free local delivery, it's just more reasons you should choose Paul Jones Drug, 809 North Main Street in Elk City.
I'm Rodney Skinner with Paul Jones Drug, and I promise we provide care you can trust.
The Skinny on Sports.
All right, welcome back. Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the sports animal. It's Paul Jones Drug Tuesday. Thank you to Rodney and the gang at Paul Jones Drug, 809 North Main right here in Elk City. Paul Jones Drug is care you can trust. They're the oldest compounding pharmacy in Elk City. Free local delivery. You can drive through and pick your stuff up. Curbside testing and vaccinations. Also long-term care unit packaging. They call them blister packs. Down at Paul Jones Drug, 809 North Main. Give them a call, 580-225-2121. It's Paul Jones Drug. It's all about him as we move along throughout the show. All right, Jared, this is real. We came on the air, and I'd seen a tweet and a story from CNBC that said PGA Tour and Live Golf have agreed to a merger. The very first story, I've got it pulled up still right here. PGA Tour has agreed to merge with Saudi-backed rival Live Golf in a deal that would see the competitors squash pending litigation, move forward as a larger golf enterprise. 2 entities signed an agreement that would combine the PGA Tour and Live Golf's commercial businesses and rights into a new, yet-to-be-named company. Now, since that was at like 9:01, right as we were coming on the air, 15 minutes later, Mark Schlabach at ESPN now has put out a story that it also puts the DP World Tour in this. So all 3 of the kind of the major worldwide golf tours have merged. I mean,
well,
how shocking is this?
Now, makes me want to go start my own tour and see if the PGA will want to. Mission accomplished, Liv.
I mean, those guys are the biggest winners by far, right?
Yes, that's the goal, right? When you start any business, maybe get bought out. You go sit on a beach somewhere.
I've got a few questions.
Oh, I got a lot, but you're more plugged into golf than I am.
Okay,
So
you know
yours?
what? Here's. Does Brandel Chambly still have a job? Does Christine Brennan still have a job?
That's a good question.
Are they gonna? No, I'm serious about this.
I know what you're saying.
Are they going to be able to bring themselves to comment about this new tour, or are they going to quit covering golf altogether?
They'll probably praise the PGA. Right? Right? I mean, they'll praise, hey, this is a great
How in
decision
the hell can
by
they
the PGA.
praise the PGA Tour for jumping in bed with the Saudis?
I know. Because PGA pays them.
Aha! There we are. I mean, there's
Follow
a whole
the money, Aaron. Follow the money.
There is a whole bunch of people that look like gigantic hypocrites if they sing the praises of this deal. I mean, a whole bunch of them. And Brandel Chambly is at the top of that list. He has to quit. He has to quit right this second once he hears that this merger is happening.
If he doesn't, then he looks
If
like...
he doesn't,
he
he's
looks
the
like-
biggest hypocrite
There
of
you
all
go.
time.
Exactly. Now back to the actual, like, to the players. They all look like the guys who they look pretty smart.
Oh, dude.
Who went over and made a bunch of money in 2 years, and now they're
So
back
literally,
in the PGA. And
all those guys did was leave, for a year and a half or 2 years, make a boatload of money, and now they're right back where they always were. The details of this aren't really apparent just yet, but it seems like it's just going to be one. All these things are going to be one with the DP World Tour, the LIV, and the PGA Tour. So now here's the question. This is a great question by Will on the text line. Does this mean now that the PGA Tour guys start getting boatloads of cash? Or are we going back to you have to make cuts to make money?
yeah, that's a great question. Is it still going to be called a LIV event and a PGA event?
No. I think this whole thing's going to be renamed to something different.
Something totally different?
Yeah, it said, okay, so in the ESPN story, no, it was in the CNBC story. The two entities signed an agreement that would combine the PGA Tour and LIV Golf's commercial business and rights into a new, yet-to-be-named company. So this is all, and then, of course, the DP World Tour is in here as well in the ESPN story. That was like, I mean, the CNBC story is literally 9:01. The ESPN story is from 9:15. So there, certain things are starting to come out of there. I mean, this is hilarious. Like Jay Monahan, the PGA Tour commissioner, he has no chance not to look like a giant hypocrite because of what his statements about the guys jumping to LIV and what LIV Golf and the Saudi-backed thing. And now, after 2 years of disruption and distraction, this is a historic day for the game we all know and love. This transformational partnership recognizes the immeasurable strength of the PGA Tour's history, legacy, and pro-competitive model and combines it with the DP World Tour and LIV, including the team golf concept, to create an organization that will benefit golf's players, commercial and charitable partners, and fans. At the end of the day, you know what it is? And always was. It's all about the Benjamins, baby.
Of course.
And kudos to LIV. Kudos to those guys. And this probably is going to be an awesome thing. Because now we get all the best players back together.
Yeah.
Just like we always wanted. And they're all playing together. And it took, how do you say it? The intestinal fortitude of a few major stars that knew the PGA Tour was screwing them. Yeah. And I don't say this, and I've said this a couple of times through this LIV Golf process, and I hate saying it. I hate saying this because of the guy. I don't want to give him any credit because I can't stand him. But kudos, Phil Mickelson. He's going to be the biggest winner of this whole damn thing. He really is. He's going to be the biggest winner of the whole thing because he was the one that even not even just stepping out into the LIV Golf, he's the one that kept the pressure on because he knew the PGA Tour coffers were full of cash that they were not spending. And he was outspoken as he could possibly be about it. And now here he is. He's going to turn from the Black Knight because, you notice he just wears nothing but black now.
He's embracing it.
He's embracing the heel. And now you know what this is just like the late to mid 90s when the Hulkster became Hollywood.
Like.
Yes. He went from Hulk Hogan, America's hero, to Hollywood Hogan, the biggest heel in the history of wrestling, and now he's back wearing the yellow and red. I hope so much. The next time we see Phil, he literally has a yellow shirt on and red pants to symbolize the Hulk Hogan-esque move that he's made here. I mean, this is – how shocked are you by this announcement?
On a level of 1 to 10, 10 being my most, like the most shocked, I would honestly, I'm about a 5 because I kind of felt like something like this was inevitable.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to
yeah, but I mean,
week,
like right now,
like
did it actually happen this fast right now?
Seems fast. Yeah, I'm maybe a little higher than a 5.5, because I thought we're in for another year or two before something was going to happen.
I'm a 40.
Really?
I can't believe this happened like this fast.
Because the Liv is barely 2 years old.
See, I was thinking it was going to take the Liv to get a contract, but then at that point, maybe they don't want to do it, and maybe that's what maybe that's what happened here. We talked about after the Tulsa event how much it seems like the Liv is taking hold.
Right. The fans have
are enjoying
They've
it.
Accepted it.
You could just look at the crowds the last couple of weeks on American soil too, though. That it wasn't just in Australia to having the big crowds. It was actually in America. They're starting to get bigger and bigger, and maybe that's what the tour saw is if we don't do it now, they may get big enough to where they won't do it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now this is the question I have is, I kind of asked this earlier about what kind of events are we going to see? Are they going to be separate but one? Does that make sense? That was what was cool about the Live event. Your 3 rounds, the, dare I say, circus-like atmosphere, fun atmosphere at their events, and then we had one just over there in Tulsa. Are those gone forever?
Okay, I'm trying to read this. Things are flying in.
I'm sure there's a ton of info coming in.
Okay, so it says, separately, PGA Tour, Inc. will remain in place as a 501c6 tax-exempt organization, retains administrative oversight of events for those assets contributed by the PGA Tour, including the sanctioning, the administration of the competition and rules, as well as other inside-the-ropes responsibilities, with Jay Monahan as commissioner and Ed Herlihy as PGA Tour Policy Board Chairman. PIF's governor, Yasir Al-Rumayyan,
good job,
will join the PGA Tour Policy Board. The DP World Tour and Live Golf will retain similar administrative oversight of events on their respective tours. So here's what just really muddy waters, but here is what I think is happening. I think they're going to create a new entity, and Scott asked about the TV contracts, and I think that's where this is headed. I think they're going to create a new entity in order to negotiate TV deals with the networks as a whole. The events will carry on as they have, but you can choose where you want to go.
Without repercussions, basically.
That's right. And then another question here, world rankings. I think the world ranking points will now, everything will go back to getting those instead of locking guys out like they did with the U.S. Open qualifying. They wouldn't even let Taylor Gooch qualify because of a changed rule, which was just ridiculous. But just kind of reading the tea leaves of what I'm getting here, I think we might see an event or two go by the wayside, and I think that would be more on the PGA Tour side than the others. But it feels like they're going to negotiate contracts as a whole and not necessarily run the tournament separately, just run the tournaments like, if it's a PGA Tour event, say, this week in Canada. But if Live Golf has one, those two kind of operate their things, but at some point they're going to have to figure out the TV so that way they both get the, maybe now the Golf Channel will show some Live or somebody else with the partnership. Does somebody else jump on board?
So there's your loser. There's your first loser in this whole thing, the CW.
I wonder how long they signed that puppy. Yeah, here's another one.
They just win their hands up in the air.
Okay, so
we're out.
Question about the format and the 54 holes versus 72. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing it's just if you're going to Tulsa, you're playing 54. If you're going down here, you're playing 7. there's a lot to be worked out here.
And the huge payouts. Did you mention that?
I haven't seen anything on that. I'm sure.
That's what, let's say it. Let's face it, that's what made the live so attractive, the huge payouts and one less round of golf. So I'm curious what this will.
Yeah, I can't wait to for this all to be kind of out there. As far as how this looks.
I'm not going to lose sleep over it when I say this, but maybe just a little bit. Maybe I'm a little disappointed. I was kind of hoping we go towards a live versus PGA event. Maybe we still are. Who knows? Maybe we still are in some way.
Yeah,
that's a pay-per-view I'd buy.
Yeah, there's a lot still to unpack here. A lot on how this all works. But at the end of the day, the one thing that we do know for sure, without having to go through the contract rigmarole of how that's going to look, the one thing we do know is that now the best players in the world are going to be back on the same stage over week in, week out, if they want to be. In this ESPN story, it doesn't say who it was, but one PGA Tour pro that was reached out to by ESPN, his response, no effing way. And I think this was shocking. I mean, that's where just plumb shocking. But, man, kudos. Phil, Greg Norman, Cam, Dustin Johnson, Koepka, those big names, DeChambeau. The big names that took this risk. And, man, is it going to pay off for them.
Yep.
Big time. Big time paying off for them because they got the best of both worlds now. They got all that money, and now they get to play back where they wanted to play the whole time.
I'd say it's a gamble, but I think they would have been fine if they lost that gamble.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you just wouldn't got to play. I mean, the majors, I think they always knew they're going to get to play the majors. Mm-hmm. That's why it wasn't as much gamble as maybe it looked like. Now, I can't wait to see how much money there is involved in this. It has to be immense for the PGA Tour and all the crowing and all the whining they've done this entire time and the holier-than-thou pedestal that they've tried to stay on to just cower down in 18 months or 2 years, whatever it's been. The money that they're going to make with the contracts here, the TV contracts and all that, it has to be astronomical.
Yeah.
In order for this to happen. Crazy. So that's the first story that was just shocking when we woke up this morning. There's another one, Jared.
I haven't heard of this.
There's a whole nother one. Is OKC a big league city? Well, we got the NBA, and now maybe the Olympics. We'll be back on a Paul Jones Drug Tuesday.
Paul Jones Drug is Elk City's most experienced compounding pharmacy, meaning they can custom make your prescription medications to your doctor's specifications, safely and effectively providing you with exactly what you need. And for your convenience, Paul Jones Drug has a drive-through pickup window as well as curbside service for testing and vaccinations and offers free local delivery. Just a couple reasons you should choose Paul Jones Drug, 809 North Main Street in Elk City.
I'm Rodney Skinner with Paul Jones Drug, and I promise we provide care you can trust.
The Skinny on Sports.
We've got too far. There's too much to lose. We've got to keep our composure.
Welcome back. Skinny on Sports on a Paul Jones Drug Tuesday, wrapping it up. Man, is this the first time that we've had kind of this type of breaking news happen during the show?
I'm sure we've had some other, but at this magnitude, probably not. I mean, that's probably probably is the first time of this magnitude.
Because it always seems like stuff breaks in the around noon or just after, and then we comment on it after it happens.
Yeah,
have some time to think. This was just like bam. Anyhow, it's Paul Jones Drug Tuesday. Convenience packaging down at Paul Jones Drug is the bee's knees. What is that, you ask? Well, they individually package your daily medication. You do that right now, probably. You've got a pill caddy. You've got 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 different pill dispensers, and you've got to dig through them and make sure you have the right amount on the right day, the right dosage. No. They do that for you. All you got to do is rip open the package, take them, and go right down life's path. Convenience packaging at Paul Jones Drug. Also, they've got the durable medical equipment. We're talking walkers, canes, crutches, that sort of thing. Most insurances are accepted. And don't forget about their gifts and their greeting cards. They've got a bunch of that stuff. Mother's Day just passed. Father's Day coming up. Graduation, if you forgot to get a graduation present for somebody, a late graduation present from Paul Jones Drug would do the trick. 809 North Main, Paul Jones Drug is care you can trust. Thank you to Rodney and the gang for being a part of the show. Man, Jared, my head is just spinning with the Live Golf PGA Tour merger. By tomorrow, hopefully, we got some more kind of details of how this is all going to work, and we can hash that out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We can figure that. Like, here's one. I've got one for you. So can the Live Golf guys now play at Canada? Is it too late for that one? Thursday? I don't know. The field is set for that. So what's the next event after the U.S. Open? Can they be there?
It's all questions we'll have to figure out.
Okay, so Live only allows 48 player fields. Golly, how hard is it going to be to get into that if you're a PGA Tour guy? Lots of stuff. Lots and lots and lots of stuff to unpack. Okay, so that was a shocker. Another shocker, when I woke up this morning, reading that in 2028, Oklahoma City may be an Olympic host. And I thought, what? It turns out now, it's just going to be for one event. The Olympics are going to be held in Los Angeles.
Okay.
But, for instance, I heard the guys in the morning say the Summer Olympics in 2024 are in Paris. Okay?
Okay.
Well, you know what there's not a lot of in Paris? Surfing beaches.
Oh, yeah.
So that event has had to be moved. You know where it's going to be?
I don't know where.
Tahiti.
So,
distance doesn't really matter away from Paris.
I mean, France has beaches. I guess they
but
don't
not
have,
like surfing.
Not like for surfing.
That's right. So
okay.
Tahiti is going to host the surfing. My first thought was Hawaii, but maybe there's some kind of deal there where Tahiti and France are buddies or anyhow.
Did France, I don't know.
Good deal for the surfers to get to go to Tahiti.
Yeah.
So in the 2028 Summer Olympics at L.A., they're missing something that Oklahoma City has. As a matter of fact, there's two places that are being considered, Oklahoma City and Charlotte, North Carolina. Do you know what it is?
Is it the river?
It is. It's rowing.
The rowing. Okay.
That's exactly what it is. So either Oklahoma.
Don't they do some Olympic training there?
Yes, high level Olympic training.
Okay.
In the do they call it the Oklahoma River? Am I making that up? Anyhow, but yeah, right down there, the boat docks and all that.
There's Oklahoma River right there. It's for the rowing?
Yeah,
so
for the rowing.
For the rowing.
The rowing is what is being considered
or crew.
to be
Is it
here.
called crew? What is it?
I don't know.
Row crew?
Now you're getting above my pay grade.
Is that a college term? I don't know.
But yeah.
So I was hoping you'd say softball, but.
This okay? Would this be the biggest event in the history of sports held in Oklahoma?
What was held in 80? Was something?
It was the Olympic Festival.
Okay.
Wasn't the Olympics? It was the Olympic
I know it wasn't
Festival.
The Olympics, but I knew it was something of magnitude. I don't know. I mean, I'm not buying a ticket to go see it.
I'd say it doesn't matter because it's rowing. Does it take it away?
Ask me the question again.
Would this be the biggest sporting event ever held in Oklahoma?
No.
Because it's rowing.
I'm not knocking it. I get it's an international thing. But I mean,
the Olympics in Oklahoma.
Sure. But it's not like all the Olympics, just one event. I'd say it'd be cool, but I'd have to say no. I think the biggest sporting event held in Oklahoma was an NBA Finals.
That's certainly on my list of biggest sporting events. Would NBA Finals, that Olympic festival.
I was too young to. I mean, I remember hearing about that. It was at 89. Was it 89?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, major golf.
There's been multiple of those that gets the state's attention and the world's attention, sure. But so does the NBA Finals. That gets the world's attention.
Yeah, I think if it was something different.
Like a different event.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a softball in the 13,000
yeah,
seat
or,
stadium.
Or if for some reason the Staples Center was broke or whatever it's called now, and the basketball was held here.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more high-profile event. Not to knock the fact that the Olympics is coming. That's awesome. But I do think, but here's what it tells you. I mean, that thing is obviously world-class.
Oh, yeah.
To be being considered.
Yeah. And kudos to Oklahoma City for building that. I mean, they literally built a river.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's
and that
may host the Olympics.
That whole facility over there, it's pretty cool when you drive by it. It's a neat place. I think for Oklahoma City to get more events like that, they need to get an outdoor multi-sport arena near downtown. And they could probably see more events like that.
Yeah, it'd be
of some magnitude, maybe. I'm not saying all the Olympics in Oklahoma City. That's a pipe dream, but of something like that.
It'd be cool. It'd need to be kind of in between what you have and what you'd need.
Yeah.
To have something available for the World Cup coming.
Yeah.
And I know everybody's going to go Owen Field or.
Well, if you could maybe on Owen Field, but.
Or you could do it at Boone Pickens.
Yeah.
Boone Pickens would actually be a better sized. But you kind of need something even smaller.
The venues are there in a way, and I agree. I know there have been talks about this for the longest time of having some event center like that, open air outdoor event center like that near downtown Oklahoma City, where they could play high school football games, even state championship games, everything from monster trucks to soccer to football, all that stuff. But you got to build hotels.
Yeah,
there's always a need for that in Oklahoma City.
That's right. Yeah, and then I think if that came, hotels would come. You know what else might be here? NBA All-Star Game.
Yeah.
I think that's a big reason why you're not getting that.
Yeah.
Madden cover. Any interest?
No.
Not anymore?
Haven't played Madden in over a decade.
Who would you put on the cover?
How many times has Mahomes been on there? It seems tiresome at this point.
Yeah, he's already been.
Maybe Jalen Hurts. Why not? Just got the big deal.
I didn't even write him down. I forgot him.
Why not Jalen Hurts?
I literally forgot him.
He seems like a guy everyone's kind of wouldn't mind having on there. How about you?
I put in this order: Justin Jefferson, Joe Burrow. The reason this popped up in my mind is because I'd seen Josh Allen was being considered.
I almost said Josh Allen.
And then Herbert or Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
Kind of the guys I had on my list.
You kind of see, at least from my...
Possum's going to say Kenny Pickett. Oh, no. TJ Watt. I knew it was a Steeler. Yeah, Jalen Hurts is a good one.
Well, you could look at guys that have just had a really good season and are still young and could have more good seasons ahead of them. I mean, maybe Jalen Hurts is that guy. Sure. CeeDee Lamb, he kind of interesting, but it's usually a quarterback.
Yeah, it is usually a quarterback. Did you haven't seen you know who Robert Griffin said it ought to be?
I could only imagine.
Want to just fire a guess out there?
The kneeler. I don't know. Who?
Damar Hamlin.
No. Okay, I see where he's coming from. Come on.
U.S. Open qualifying yesterday, 11 collegiate golfers make it through to the U.S. Open at LA Country Club. 4 from Stanford. 4 Stanford golfers made it to the U.S. Open. How the hell did they not make the match play? They didn't even make the match play of the national tournament. How in the world did that happen? Who knew Stanford had 4 guys good enough to play in the U.S. Open? I don't even think they did.
Well, they're all feeling it.
That's incredible.
Something.
That is incredible. I'm going to save this next one, but your Rangers got some bad news yesterday.
Is it?
Doesn't seem like it. You would think it would be. Going into the season, if you just, DeGrom's on the 60-day DL. But doesn't feel like it is. Second, did you see this? Through 58 games, they had the second-best run differential ever. Plus 152 through 58 games, only behind the 1939 Yankees.
It's crazy.
Are you a believer yet?
Well, the stat I saw that the last 2 times they've had hot starts like this, when they've set personal best starts in franchise history, the last 2 times they've made the World Series. This is the best start they've had in franchise history. So conventional wisdom tells you it's World Series or bust. And they're doing this without DeGrom. Evalde, another all-star that they picked up, free agent, could be an all-star. He could be an all-star pitcher.
Could be an all-star. He could win the Cy Young.
If someone said, hey, that free agent that the Rangers picked up is probably going to be an all-star or a Cy Young contender, I'd probably go, oh, yeah, you're talking about DeGrom, right? Nope. No, it's exciting. It's fun. It's fun. Going for 40th win tonight.
Against the lowly Cardinals.
I almost blew it against them last night. It's fun, but there's Astros are going to be on their heels the whole way, and I think that's beneficial because if they were just dominating a division like they have in the past and then not really feel that heat, I think that's very beneficial. And then, of course, the Angels too. I mean, they're in third place, one game over 500, but you never know when they can get on a heater with Ohtani and all them. So it's fun. It's fun to be a Rangers fan right now.
No doubt. No doubt about it. My Brewers are leading their division. But it's not near as fun to talk about as, the best start in franchise history, one of the best teams of all time. I mean, actually, they're not. The Pirates passed them, as they should. The Brewers have a negative run differential. Pirates are plus 11. They got the Cardinal bump, getting to play the Cardinals for 3 games. Be interesting. I mean, a lot of people liked Texas as kind of that dark horse style of team.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody thought through 60 games they're going to have the best record in the bigs, which they're just
Simeon is on
about there.
He's on a hit streak. I think 24 games with a hit in a row. It's best in the league. He's playing locked in. The pitching has been, and that's the key. It's been the pitching. The rotation has been fantastic, even without DeGrom. I think the bullpen could use a little work. A couple times this year they've blown leads, which I think will be addressed before the season is over. There's already a trade last week addressing that a little bit, but the bats are, I hope stay hot throughout the season. I mean, Garcia's always been a monster. He's hitting it well. I mentioned Simeon. Look for Rookie of the Year, Young over there at third base, Texas Tech guy. I think he could be a potential Rookie of the Year candidate. Right now, he's playing at that level. Let's see if that can continue to.
Question on the text line, and this was a perfect time for somebody to ask this question, considering you drove a Porsche to work.
Doesn't mean I'm.
Will you go to the World Series if Texas is in it?
My biggest regret, because it happened in the time of my life where I was starting a family, so I was worrying about my money then going towards other things. My biggest regret back then was I never even attempted to go the 2 years that they went to the World Series. Didn't even attempt. Didn't even look because I thought I don't have the money to do that. Now, maybe. I mean, things have settled down a little bit more, but kids are expensive, so there might be some.
I think, if I remember right, 2011, you could have had one of the best doubles ever because Texas was at home against St. Louis for a World Series game the same weekend, maybe even the same day as OU Texas.
I remember that.
Because I was at OU Texas, and I think that the Cardinals and Rangers played that night. Or maybe it was Friday night, and then the game Saturday. But there was a chance for that if
I'll say this.
So
if they're in the series,
willing.
I am definitely going to attempt. I might be making sure I have some vacation days to use. I might be doing the Skinny on Sports on location from a parking lot or hotel room or something.
Well, here, road trip into 2-seater Porsche, it says.
You don't want to go any further in the Porsche than what
maybe
I've gone
maybe
today.
what you need to do is have Allie follow you down to your truck, get down there, sell that 2-seater Porsche for a seat in the stadium, and then bring her on
That's not
back.
a horrible idea, but I don't know if the mother-in-law would be on board with that. And by the way, serious note, happy D-Day.
Happy D-Day, that's exactly right.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered to right. Way back. Goodbye.
Paul Jones Drug offers a free service that makes taking your daily medications safe and easy. It's called convenience packaging, meaning they can combine all your daily medications and put them in sealed, separate daily packages. This process replaces you from having to fill your daily medication dispenser. And as always, Paul Jones Drug prepares individual blister packaging for long-term care patients. With their drive-through window, curbside service, and free local delivery, it's just more reasons you should choose Paul Jones Drug, 809 North Main Street in Elk City.
I'm Rodney Skinner with Paul Jones Drug, and I promise we provide care you can trust.